manna from heaven, I say. And I'll get emotional because it meant that much to me. So fast forward, I laid them off at 2:30. At 4:30, I hired them all back. And we went from being a non-essential awards company with not many events to give awards to or manufacture awards for, to an essential business making calls for the state of New York.
Don't forget to smash that share button. Subscribe to my page. Follow me on Instagram at Lance Bachman and keep sending me those questions. On today's show, we have Keith Baldwin from Spikes Trophies discussing the impact of what this has created to his business and how he pivoted to save over 50 jobs. Keith, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here. Can you tell everybody a little bit about yourself, Keith?
My name's Keith Baldwin. I'm the Chief Relationship Officer here at Spikes, majority partner. Spikes is an awards company and a manufacturer and a sign manufacturer and a distributor of promotional products to anything with a logo. Company's been around for 90 years. I've been here for over 40.
So Keith, me and you know each other for years now. We actually worked at Gold Medal together. We started at the top. I'll let you talk about what you did. You put me on blast. But on a serious note, you wind up buying Spikes Trophies and getting hit with a recession right away. I believe we're going to hit another recession. We're going into it.
Yeah,
so you've navigated these waters. Can you tell people a little bit how you wind up owning Spikes? Because I think it's an amazing story for someone that's never seen college and graduating from it, and you're one of Philadelphia's biggest leaders.
So I don't know about that statement, but well, me and you started when we were kids at a local sporting goods company that didn't make it. You were am I allowed to embarrass you? You used to wash screens.
I used to wash screens all day.
For screen printing, we had a screen printing operation, and I used to sharpen skates and I think it was did tennis rackets. I weaved tennis rackets, strung them. When I was 14 years old, started there, worked my way up. They bought this distressed trophy company, Spikes. I went there when I was 18 years old. I'm going to give you the condensed version. I wrote a goal to myself to own the company with my friends. It took me 25 years. I worked for 2 absentee owners and ended up begging that person to sell to us. We broke our piggy bank and we've owned it for 15 years.
And the funny is you own it for 15 years and then you get hit with one of the worst recessions that you've seen in your adult lifetime.
Yep.
And you managed to grow and get bigger during that recession, which is amazing, right? I mean, you navigated through. So are you scared right now with what's being impacted now?
Hey, at first, I have a 24-hour rule for myself. I allow myself a 24-hour pity party, for lack of a better term, where I'll cry, get depressed, beat myself up, whatever, and then come out of it and, okay, work the problem. Because those emotions don't help me. They don't help the situation and don't move the situation forward. So that's what I just started to doing. And to answer your question about the past recession and this recession coming up, hopefully not, but is relationships. I belong to a national buying group, so I had a lot of people, a lot of smart people around the country, a lot of experience that I could lean on. I belong to a number of groups locally, again, for different things. I belong to a manufacturing group. I belong to a relationship group. And each one of them make me a lot smarter than I am. And it gives me a lot of resources. So if I don't know the answer, I can reach out to somebody like you, Lance, and pick your brain and apply it and help me get through the situation. So that's probably the biggest thing is the relationships.
Keith, you had to lay people off, right? You were impacted. The governor shut you down. I mean, you do mostly corporate events. I know you do a lot of baseball trophies, sports trophies, but mostly, predominantly, you were a B2B sales company, correct? And you
Yes.
got shut down. Can you talk about that and what that experience was like? And did you have to lay anyone off?
Yes. People think of us as Spikes Trophies, and I think of, like you said, the Little League Trophy. We still do it. It's a smaller part of our business. Corporate awards, schools, events is the lion's share of our business. And if you think about it, there are no events for the awards. If you think about locally, you've got the Broad Street Run, you've got Dadvale Regatta, you've got the Penn Relays, you've got the graduations. Well, they're not happening. So if they're not happening, they don't need us. We're a non-essential business, for lack of a better term.
How many
And
people did you have to lay off, Keith?
we have 45 people, and Friday the 20th, we laid them off, had to, through some tears on the 20th. We laid them off at 2:30 in the afternoon.
And I know you care about your employees. I got to know Fred Darby. He's one of my favorite. You know, I love Fred. Chris, your IT guy, I think he's one of the brightest IT guys around. I mean, and I know you care. I know you care. And that moment in time to lay that many people off, what was going through your mind?
I'm not alone. I know a lot of business owners that I said I have a lot of relationships. I talk to them. We're all hurting. All of our hearts are bleeding, and we're shedding a few tears. So we lean on each other. And yes, I had to lay them off, and it hurt. But I got fortunate. I got a lot of long-term employees that have been with me. You mentioned Fred. Fred's probably been with me at least 15, maybe 20. Chris, you mentioned my IT guy, has been with me for 30 some years. So yeah, I got a lot of relationships. They are my family. I do care deeply. And when they hurt, I hurt. So yes, it did hurt to lay them off.
You know, Keith, and then something turned, you know, so 2 hours later, not even, I can only imagine what you're going through. Because Keith, you're going to be okay. That's what I say to people. Like, I committed to not taking a paycheck. I know you committed to not taking a paycheck. Almost everyone that's been on the Den has said, I'm not taking a paycheck for the next year, 6 months. They don't want to get into the whole SBA loans things. We talked about that earlier. The grant money is one thing, but taking loans out to save your business is just not a good idea, right? So
I'm with you.
So leaders are just saying, hey, I'm not going to take it. My business is going to be stronger when I come out of this.
Yes.
But then your phone rings. You're devastated because I know you. And then your phone rings and tell everybody what happens. It shows you the power of relationships.
So I laid them off at, if you remember, 2:30 on that Friday. At 3:27, I wrote it down because it meant that much. I got a call from my banker great relationship, Beth Packle from First Trust Bank. And I've been with them forever. They helped me buy the company 15 years ago. And she had an opportunity presented to her by one of her long-term customers, AnswerNet. Gary Puddles, the owner and president. They were just awarded the contract by the state of New York to make calls to book tests for the citizens of New York for the current situation. And they needed to fill seats now. So Beth, because I was communicating, I believe you have to communicate, maybe over communicate in these times, knew exactly my position. And she picked up the phone and gave me that opportunity. Manna from heaven, I say. And I'll get emotional because it meant that much to me. So fast forward, I laid them off at 2:30. At 4:30, I hired them all back. And we went from being a non-essential awards company with not many events to give awards to, or manufacture awards for, to an essential business making calls for the state of New York. And we worked through the weekend, got all the tech up, and we started calling Tuesday that week, the following week.
That's amazing. It shows you how quick you can pivot with a great leader and organization. You went from manufacturing corporate awards for the most part and doing awesome swag, things like that, to helping first responders. I mean, that's just amazing. It's just, you know, and speaking about that, Keith, I've always said this, right? I love digital marketing. It's why I stayed here. Yes. But I would have been successful, I believe, truly in a roofing company and almost in almost any business, because I believe it's just a widget, right? But I think there's certain things that leaders know how to do, business people know how to do. And you're one of those people, which is going to bring me to my next question. You are, which is going to bring me to my next question. How do you go and help a catering person that's going under and sinking and say, I'm going to pivot here and save her business and help her out? Can you tell me that story? It's amazing.
I can't say I went and saved her business.
It definitely helped.
What I do is I had a friend who had a catering business. And like I said, through the relationships, we're all leaning on each other. and she knew that I was in the event business. She was. I've got many friends there, and we're sharing war stories. Like you said, we're in a war and we're on the front lines. And I know a lot of these people care about their employees. So she called me and she said, "What are you doing?" I just had to lay off a couple hundred people, and she was broken, just like I was broken. So I knew that feeling, and I'd come out the other end of it, and I was fortunate to be able to take care of my people. So it enabled me, it freed me up to move on. So I started thinking, well, maybe how can I help her? And I started asking her questions. Long story short, we developed the program together. And it wasn't me. All I did was the catalyst to ask questions, to get her thinking and get her back in the game, which she did. She's an extremely bright woman, and very successful. So now she's delivering large quantities of packaged, prepackaged dinners for people on the front lines, the doctors, the nurses, the medical staff, to bring home to their families so they don't have to think, they don't have to go shop, they don't have to cook. And it takes a lot of stress away. And she delivered multiple meals, 300, I think, was Temple University Hospital, 300 to Jefferson. She just called me. Somebody just wrote her a check for $50,000 yesterday. And she says, this is blown up. She had a TV spot on Channel 6 because it was so important. And now her problem, she got a new problem, hiring them all back quick enough to get the food out the door. So it turned pretty quick, and it just made my heart smile that I'm able to do that, to help her be a catalyst and get her back in the game and get her rolling again. And it was awesome.
That's amazing. I know you're a good guy. I know you wear your heart on the sleeve. I know you're willing to always help anyone. You've helped me when I was trying to grow my company. I mean, be realistic. You saw me go from 2 employees, me and my sister, to over 100 some now. And you've been with me every step of the way. You've always answered calls. You just are one of the best. There's no reason. It makes sense why you own the largest trophy company, the largest corporate award company in Delaware Valley. Because when you just are a good person, a good leader, good things happen, and you do understand business. And being that this show is about business, Keith, what do you do more than you think? How are you communicating at your employees at this time? Because they pivoted to something else. You're not putting spikes on pause. I know that. I know right now you're an aggressive guy. You have big goals. Yep. What are you communicating to your employees right now? What are you saying to them? What's your words? What are you echoing to them?
Well, I communicate in 2 ways. One, conference call, and then email. We have a group email. And I find myself, because some of these calls that we're making, they range from inspirational, where my people are, they know they're doing something important. They're on the front lines. They're giving people hope, and people are thanking them for calling them. And to the other end of it, where it can be draining. They're saying, am I going to die? And it takes a toll. It shook the staff last week. We actually called somebody. We were calling, and the son picked up, and we're calling for the father, and he said, it's too late. My father passed away yesterday. So in those communications, I'm just trying to, in any way I can, make them recognize how important what they're doing is and how much people appreciate. Lance, you helped me through social media. I had them take selfies because I want them to feel, experience, and hear what I've heard from people telling me, oh, what you're doing is great. Well, I'm not doing it. It's my people doing it. And they're doing an unbelievable job. We were told we were the top group. There's pods of hundreds of callers, and we were told that we were the top pod because my people care probably the most. And that's probably why it takes the greatest toll on them, because they care so much. So just being that support person to lift their spirits up. And so we posted it, and they got email, they got responses on their Facebook of, that's amazing, thank you. And it put fuel in their tank to make them feel better, to refuel them, to make more calls. So that's what social media does. That's what communication does. Did I answer your question?
Yeah.
I don't know if I went too far.
What are you doing? What are you doing to stay in front of your customers now? Because you're going to return back to Spikes. What are you doing to stay in front of them, to let them know that Keith Baldwin and his team is ready to go business as usual? What are you doing to stay in front of your customers now?
So it's been what a ride the last month or whenever this started. So an example, Sunday, we just got an opportunity to distribute face masks, protective face masks. We made a post. You posted it for us. I think it was Sunday night, and it just blew up. Yesterday, I think it was yesterday. It's today, Tuesday.
It is Tuesday, my friend. Yesterday. This is Monday.
They all run together right now. We spent the day just writing orders. There was 10, and this is the truth, and I know that you'll think that this number is not right. There was 10 million of these things that came into the distributor. They sold out yesterday. So we got our orders in, we got them covered. There's going to be a million delivered, I think, a day or every other day for the foreseeable future. We're still writing orders. I've got orders coming in right now. Did I think a week ago that we'd be selling face masks faster than we can write the orders? No, but that's what social media does. You posted it and it just took off.
Here's a question for you, Keith. Well, this isn't going to come to an end. We don't know when. I think we're hearing that the numbers are going down in some places. Thank God. We both know people that have it. I have a friend of mine that is in the hospital on a ventilator. I have another friend that just got out of the hospital. So it's a serious problem. Yes. It is, but it is going to end.
Yes.
What are you working on to move Spikes trophies back right now? Because I can't imagine you're putting Spikes on pause by any means and going to go to this business.
So I saw a TED Talk video. In times like these, it creates opportunities. So I try to flip that, and what's the opportunity? So I had on the shelf for the back end of the year, because technology, we just weren't there yet. Systems wise, we weren't there yet to completely automate the process from online into our ERP system, our computer system, onto our machines and out the door. I had a Goldman Sachs. I went to Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business a couple of years ago, came out of it with a business plan that was
great program. If people don't know what that program is, by the way, Keith, most people don't realize a lot of people apply for that program and don't get in. That's actually one of the better programs throughout the country.
It was intense, but it was worth it. So I dusted off that business plan, and hopefully you're going to see the results of it Friday. When I get off this call, my to-do list is I got to create content. So we're moving fast. We stripped it down. It's not going to be as I had planned. I don't have time for it. But I think in today's environment, it makes sense. We're going to try to help people communicate, express their feelings of love, appreciation, inspiration with a product that we are going to produce and personalize and have a personalized card that will go with it. So Lance, you inspire me. So you may get one of these from me. And it's just something to put on your desk or whatever to remind you that I was thinking of you. It may be a small inspirational quote or something small that I came up with that I'm thinking of you about, how you inspired me, so that you're going to get something from me that you'll see it and it'll be there forever, and it'll hopefully mean something to you.
Absolutely, Will. I appreciate that. Well, you heard from Keith Baldwin, Spikes Trophy leader, Philadelphia's biggest advocate for sports and everything else around here. Keith, thank you for being on the Den. Digital Lines out. Everyone stay safe. I
love you, brother. I'll tell you exactly what I've told many people. I belong to this national buying group that I mentioned. I'm the president of it. So I try to lead them. And when this was happening in my industry and we were shutting down nationally, the industry basically shut down. I gave them a survival checklist that we've refined and they've used. But at the bottom of it, I said, smile, people. Stay focused. Our people need our leadership more than ever. We're the leaders in our industry. It's time for us to lead. We can't be coward. We can't be having a pity party, an extended one. And we have to give people hope. And then we have to work the problem every day, every minute, especially as it's changing by the minute. You have to be able to adapt and just stay focused, stay calm. Okay, what's the next problem? What's the solution? Reach out to your friends, your relationships. How can you help me solve this problem? Do you have any ideas? I get so much feedback from all the groups I get. I get ideas that I can plug in, and so that would be my final roar. Smile, stay focused. Our people need our leadership, and then work the problem.